All right, guys, Melissa here. A couple things I want to share. I just finished talking to a financial advisor. Well, not advisor, financial guidance person who does have tools to go into a financial advisor. We talked about the relationship that you have with money, and I had shared my experience with money from coming from a place of thinking that having a career would be fulfilling and really feeling like, okay, that was not for me. It was motherhood and family that was very fulfilling to me. And having to work with my husband's check that was very low income. And he would say, he asked me, how would you do the budget? How did you do it? Did you pay the bills first? Did you spend first? Did you did you save first? What did you do? So I was talking about how my income I just made went right into a savings first. That's the first thing I did, knowing that I have bills to pay. I'm like, I'm going to hold on to this. But I said, it also depends. I mean, it's going to depend on my workload. Sometimes, like December was a really good month for me. January, the income hasn't been there. I have a job interview again for Friday for more restaurant work where I've lost work. That's not my fault. I've lost some work, because I had to switch from my last job to the schooling course to get my business going. And I had no idea that things would be slow at the restaurant, this slow, including closing last night because of issues. Anyways, he said, I can see that. I can see that. And I said, so when I was raising, my sons, depending on my husband's income, would depend on what was done with money first. So I said, if it was always food on the table first, I mean, I had sons to take care of and the bills would have to wait. And he's like, I can see that. That would make sense. If there's not enough money there, guys, you do have to put food on the table first. And then you can also, get a deferment for the mortgage, which I did. And you can do a lot of things with the bills. You can get help with the bills, but you want food on the table. And then, and of course, you have food pantries and stuff to help you do that. And you do want some money put aside. But we also talked about the buckets. So, one thing that was helpful was he said there's three buckets. There's your fixed bucket. Those are your bills. Second one is your savings. Your third one is your spending. And he said that they don't recommend putting gas into the fixed bucket, which I know it's a variable, and so is food. It's a variable. So put those in the third one. And I usually would put a certain amount of money in the first one for the groceries, right? So I'm like, you know what? I like that idea better, putting it in the variable category. So food, I mean, I did know that was a variable that goes up and down depending, but put it in a whole separate bucket. And I'm like, that makes sense. So, anyways, we talked today, and this company gave me today a free consultation. So I have three that with this class I'm allowed to have. And he's like, we're not even going to count this one until you have consistent income coming in. Because he's like, I can't really tell you how to budget if you don't have consistent income coming in. And so, if you don't have enough income coming in, like we didn't with my husband's job, I mean, there were days we didn't even know that he wouldn't even have work many times. It makes it extra hard to budget. And my mother-in-law would be like, I don't know how you do it, Melissa. I don't know how you do it. And my husband would be like, I can't I can't work with this budget. There's not enough there. Even my husband would be like, there's not enough money. I can't do a budget. So I had to take care of my whole family without even enough money half the time. And I did it and I did it well. And that's because I knew how to use resources. I knew how to, move money around a certain way, that I could be like, okay, I can stretch this or I can go to the store and get spaghetti for at one point I'm like 69 cents instead of 89 cents. So it was my hands. It was my hands that worked really hard But I don't think I've been in a position of having really consistent income ever. I don't think I've ever had that. Not with my husband, not with my jobs, because a lot of times I had to give up a job in order to, be like, okay, my family needs me more, so I can't sustain this job or something. So he's like, okay, so it sounds like a whole new life now for you. So going forward, what is the plan? So he said, how long do you think it's going to be before you have that consistent income? And I'm like, well, I can't depend on, the restaurants per se, depending on how busy it is, but with two restaurants, I can have that consistent income. Plus, I met with a commercial property owner today, and he's going to have probably some work for me. So I also met up with someone who has a magazine who's going to let me advertise in her magazine, my own business. So this is why I say you need so many streams of income so that when something falls through, as it always does, you have enough income. So I have three streams of income there. The travel business is four, the financial business is five. I can get plasma, that's six. And there was one more I was thinking of. Um, Let me see, cleaning, two restaurants, plasma, and two side hustles, the finances too. So that's six jobs. And oh yeah, I'm working on the YouTube too here. I heard someone say, make sure when you do your YouTube channel, it's something that you can sustain, that your style is something you can sustain. And I feel like that's kind of why I have the smaller videos, because it doesn't take as much work. It's taken longer for me to get somewhere, but I haven't really had time with everything going on to really invest in YouTube. So, eventually buying a YouTube course is something I will do and invest in YouTube. So that will be seven income streams I will be having coming in. Plus, I have a few dollars in stocks, so that's like eight that will pay off later. So get all the income streams you can, and so we are going to put this off for a couple months, and then we're going to start the budgeting and how do you think about money and what were the relationships. He's like, you've seen two sides of the tracks growing up, you've seen a lot, you've been through a lot, so now these are the dynamics. And I said, yeah. And I had no idea how my husband's parents were with money. And I had no idea they acted like that with money, that money was more important than relationship to them. So being able to look back and say, what happened? Why did this happen? And being able to get there on the money side is what you want to be able to do, because many times we don't talk about money, right? So, really good stuff. And as I get going with, I had talked to another guy today who um, does inspections. So, he should have cleaning for me. So, I will be getting on that this afternoon before I get to my class. And obviously, my class is going to help me. That is not making money, but that is an investment in myself. So these are kind of all the things you want to do to get going after a divorce. And again, when I talked about divorce today, someone's like, "What a basic dick he is." And yeah, I mean, he kind of put us through quite a bit. So I said, well, I still love him, and that is normal, but wow, that was a lot. So that's what I'm doing. Get back on your feet, ladies.